What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, surely at this point you've seen the myriad of Venom headlines coming out in the last 2 days. The reason's really twofold. First of all, the first official pre-screener was shown in London, and over the next 2 weeks leading up to the October 1st theatrical release date, they're going to be running a ton of marketing, including interviews like the one we're covering today that had Andy Serkis, the director, side by side with Tom Hardy, talking about a couple of aspects of Venom, and then asked point blank what's going on with the future of Venom, and his answer included the Spiderverse. We're going to break down exactly what Tom Hardy said about the future of Venom, especially considering the video we ran yesterday, which I'll make sure to link at the end of this, that seems to have a rumor that that's what's teased at the end of the second film. We're breaking down everything for this brand new interview with Tom Hardy and what he said about the upcoming future of Venom in the Spiderverse. But first, if you could consider hitting the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content here at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from anonymous 4chan plot leaks all the way to director interviews and official Easter egg breakdowns. So if any of that's for you, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button, leaving a comment down below. If you do, that'll automatically enter you to win all of the giveaways at the channel, which there are many, including PlayStation 5s. If you want to stick around to the end of the video, we'll get into all that giveaway stuff again there. So again, to quickly recap, the day before, Andy Serkis was asked a question very similar to this and had a very similar answer, confirming eventually Venom would show up and cross over with Spider-Man. It's just how and when is the major point of contention. Fast forward to yesterday in an interview with ET Canada when asked what the future for Venom held going from this story now against Carnage, and this is what Tom Hardy had to say, quote, "I think you've got to look at it always like these things come in threes at the moment. And if they progress further, then it's normally the initial blocking of the infrastructure or set of franchise movies will be 1, 2, 3, and done. So when Venom 1 was presented, it was presented if it was successful with the 2, and if that's successful with the 3. So one has to look at the whole overarching option." He went on to say, quote, "First you establish a character. If people like it, then you take them on a journey. Obviously Carnage, he's a high priest in the aspect of the arcana of these characters. It's like, wow, you've got to go bigger or you go lateral, build the world, continue to unpack." Then he got very, very specific. Quote, "There's a Venomverse, there's a Spiderverse, there's multiverses, there's all kinds of canon and lore and mythology to explore both laterally and forward in time. I think with the right people and the right planning, the feedback from the audience, and understanding is about making the right choices at the right time, even with the foresight of understanding where things may already go or they wish to go, it's a combination of all these in the alchemy of what will be." And that's actually a very measured answer and hopefully replicates what Sony and Marvel are trying to do. Very much paralleling what Andy Serkis had said the day before that, obviously it's going to happen. He actually joked and said first, personally, it was never going to happen, but that it was, they just wanted to pick the right story going forward. What Andy Serkis actually specifically said, that is, if you jump the shark, meaning go straight to Spider-Man and Venom, then we might miss out on some other supervillains. I speculated in that video, most likely that's because they want Carnage to continue his role as an anti-hero in the trilogy before making that crossover point. You also have to think about, from a billing aspect, whose film carries which characters, and Tom Hardy's franchise as Venom is already carrying a ton of weight with this obvious success hanging in the balance. The first film did very, very well for Sony. Spider-Man is also technically their IP, and remember, Marvel doesn't have a co-production role in these Venom films the same way they do in the Spider-Man franchise. While it's been heavily rumored that going into this next phase and as part of that original sharing agreement, that Kevin Feige would sort of have a hand in things, oversee things, so that they could more easily merge the universes at some point. And although Kevin Feige's original quote, that's going on years old at this point, said something about Spider-Man being unique in his ability to cross Marvel Cinematic Universes because of the multiverse, it appears as though he's not the only one, and we already know with the recanonization of the old Sony characters that when we reported almost 2 years ago their ultimate goal was to get Venom and Spider-Man to eventually cross over, that it was only a matter of time. You're going to hear me say that a couple more times in the upcoming weeks, so I apologize if it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but I was the one who originally put forward that while recanonizing old Spider-Man are great, Sony has current movies that don't have a Spider-Man, one of which in Venom that is already making a ton of money, so it's an absolute no-brainer to try to cross that over with the IP that's technically theirs in Tom Holland's Spider-Man, regardless of the sharing agreement they currently have with Marvel. And at the heart of that was Sony having to pull Spider-Man right after Far From Home and Avengers Endgame, where we had that 1 month period 2 years ago during the month of September where we didn't know what Tom Holland's future was. When they came back to the table and worked it all out, our initial report was, look, we can do this, let's just make it homogenized, let's canonize it all. And it looks like Kevin Feige took that and ran with it, as we've heard reports of the upcoming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where he reached out to the likes of Sir Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman to come back and reprise their X-Men roles. And although unfortunately Hugh Jackman is telling the truth, he's not coming back as Wolverine, we just reported in the last 2 weeks that we expect one iteration of Professor X, either James McAvoy or Sir Patrick Stewart, where there's been mixed reports. It seems like some industry insiders are actually confirming Sir Patrick Stewart as that Professor X, but at least one character from all these cinematic universes. So by this time next year, the entire Marvel run of movies, even the ones from franchises that don't exist anymore, will be canon to the MCU as well. It's the entire multiverse there that Venom was talking about. So I highly suspect that this third film Sony will wrap up and keep it simple, keep their IP separate, and that eventually we will get this crossover with Spider-Man. It's just when and where. Yesterday's video, I speculated that we only got 5 prominent villains in the very first trailer for No Way Home, and that what would make the most sense to me is to slip Hardy's Venom in there, considering the proximity of the films. But really, I think that's just too much of a long shot, and I've said this a million times at the channel. They do scripts so far in advance to pre-production that they wouldn't have had the foresight and the ability to make this all work, even on the fly, even with the delays to COVID, because there's a good chance that this story has been in the works for quite a while, long before they could have ever lined them up like this. But guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. When and where do you want to see Venom and Spider-Man crossover? And I am surely hoping they are adversaries to start with. And how do you think they rework the symbiote story to work in the MCU and or for Peter Parker at all? It's kind of the reverse now, right? So will we ever see Tom Holland don the black suit? I'm all ears. Let me know in the comments quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff again before I let you go. All right, we're still giving away 2 PlayStation 5s, one at 900,000 subscribers, one with the conclusion of What If. At this rate, they may happen in the same week. Either way, if you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. That'll also enter you for the weekly Disney Plus subscriptions, the ticket giveaways, etc. All you have to do, again, be a subscriber, comment on the video, because it's truly random. More videos, more comments, better chance of winning. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with notifications turned on. And if you liked today's video, maybe hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me over on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes Music, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires, including the 2 songs you heard in the background of this video. Thanks so much for checking out the channel, guys. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.